Hey, welcome back to the YouTube channel. Thank you for tuning in. If you can, hit subscribe down below. That would really help. I'd appreciate it. But today we're going to be talking about doing things out of shame, guilt, and obligation. It's where I've spent majority of my adult life in, is doing things out of guilt, shame, and obligation. I was raised in a Free Will Baptist church my whole entire life, and a lot of the religion is based off of those three things: shame, guilt, and obligation. And you don't even realize it sometimes when you're so, I don't want to say brainwashed, that's not the right word, but when you're so in it, you do things out of those three things, and you don't even know. You don't even know that you're doing them. And when you do things out of guilt, shame, and obligation, you create scarcity mindsets, meaning that you don't think you deserve everything that God wants you to have. You think you don't deserve the best body, the best relationship, the best job, more money, a better purpose, all those things, right? It's because we were trained to feel guilt, shame, and do things out of obligation, right? Like I'm a grown man. Like growing up, you felt guilty if you were all horned up. Like, oh no, don't do that. Don't express your, sexuality. No, if you do, we're gonna make fun of you and make an example out of you, right? It's like, what, And so you don't say anything, and you keep quiet and suppress, and then you go to church. For me, in the morning, then mid-morning, afternoon, and then on Wednesdays, you do things out of obligation, not really wanting to go. And it's what we do in life. We do things out of obligation, guilt, and shame. Because we feel guilty that we go drinking, or because we're not doing what we're supposed to be doing, we feel guilt. We feel shame, and because we're not where we should be in life, or not where we thought we should be with our body, with our business, with our marriage, all those things, right? You feel shameful. There was a period there where, I was in the health business, and I took my shirt off, and I was like, I was ashamed. Like, this is fucking disgusting, and the guilt for me was the big one. It always played a factor for me in the mornings time, when I'd wake up in the morning, especially on Mondays, when I had the weekends, when I'd still work, but like I was kind of like, that was my excuse for like fucking off in the afternoons and not, overindulging in Netflix, having some more cocktails than I should. Doing those types of things led to a lot of guilt and shame. And then I did things out of obligation that I didn't want to do, like see clients when I didn't want to, work days I didn't want to, go to family things I didn't want to, right? Because I was doing things out of obligation, because I wasn't showing up for myself how I should be, how I wasn't showing up in integrity. And it's kind of interesting to see, because I now look at things when I want to do something. Am I doing this out of guilt, shame, or obligation? And since I've turned it around and do everything on discipline and integrity, which creates certainty, I can have conversations with people. I can do things that I would never have done a couple years ago, because I don't have any guilt, shame, and obligation. I don't have any guilt and shame because I put myself every day in a routine that creates habits to where I don't do things that make me shameful or feel guilty. I do what I say. I don't lie to myself. I don't lie to other people. When I say I'm going to do something, I do it. Because what happens is, when you say you're going to do something and then you don't do it, even if it's a small thing, it creates guilt and anxiety, and then you become out of integrity, right? Could be as simple as like, hey, I'm going to practice this every day, practice piano every day, and you don't practice it, right? Well, then you feel guilty because you're not practicing it, but that's like a real small thing, right? Like, you should be feeling more guilty because you didn't make that phone call for business today, you didn't send the email today, you didn't go to the gym today to work on your body. You doing the piano is not really going to add value to anyone's life or to your life, right? It might make you feel better, but going to the gym is going to add value to your life. Making that phone call in business is going to add value to your life, make things better. And so that's where I see things when I'm not doing things out of guilt, obligation, and shame. And it's an amazing place to be in, and it's a freeing place to be in. And you start living life and looking at life differently when you live out of guilt, shame, and obligation. Because I promise you, 99% of people around you are living in guilt, shame, and obligation. They're doing things they don't want to do. They're waking up not with the bodies they want. They're waking up in the marriages they do not want. They're guilty because they did something they're not supposed to do, or guilty because they don't do the things they say they're going to do. And then they do things out of obligation because they feel bad. They feel guilty. They feel shameful. And so to reverse that cycle, to not have guilt, to not have shame, to not have obligation, you need to put yourself in discipline and integrity every single day with simple routines like making your bed, brushing your teeth, meditating, taking fruits and greens, taking supplements, stacking, which is journaling, going to the gym every day. Those things create discipline, which creates integrity. When you do those things every single day and do not waver, and when you do them for yourself and not other people, not for your wife, not for your kids, not for your mom, not for your dad, but when you do it for you and you take the time and be still and listen to God, it's amazing the amount of guilt that does not come around. It's amazing how you're not shameful anymore, and you don't do things out of obligation, but out of want, because you want to do them. And it's a beautiful place to live in. If you like more info about that place that I live in, and that you could too, it's simple. It's simple. And that's why I'm doing this YouTube channel and I'm out here, is because I realize it's difficult, but it's so simple at the same time. It's difficult because it's just like anything else when you start. You gotta get going, it's uncomfortable, there's bumps and bruises, there's growing, there's stretching to do, there's stressing to do, but it's a beautiful place to be in. And so if you like more information, comment down below. I'd love to get a conversation started with you. But thank you for tuning in to this episode. If you can again, click subscribe. That would help me out. I'd appreciate it. And until next time.